Ready.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Ready.
Wait. Sorry. Okay, ready? In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, guys. It's your boy, Eli.
And it's your boy, Kelvin.
And we'd like to welcome you guys to our first ever episode of the Geek Centurions podcast. And if you don't know what the Geek Centurions are, we are your geek cultured kind of guys. We like to talk about stuff like comic books, animes, movies, gaming, and well, this is our first episode.
Yeah, well, welcome in, guys. Welcome. So just sit back, enjoy the ride, and watch us geek out.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be a fun one.
Okay, let's dive right into the topic. So, Eli.
Yo, what's up?
What's the one thing you grew up watching? I mean, like, obviously, cartoons, right? But like anime, right? I'm talking like that old school anime.
Oh man, dude,
I
I know you and I, we both grow up.
Right.
Like, we were like what, 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, something like that. Whenever like anime, like, it was like early 2000s when like we first saw the first season of anime. It was like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, every kid around our age, which is like the mid 20s, like they grew up watching Pokemon stuff.
Right.
And Dragon Ball Z.
For sure, yeah.
And like a lot of other stuff that I can't really come to think about off the top of my head. Digimon.
Yeah, Digimon.
So
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh's
So,
definitely for sure.
We grew up with a lot of this anime crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's we kept going with it, and we just kept doing a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, man.
And I know what our topic is today.
Oh boy, we're about to dive right in to the juicy stuff.
So our first topic, we want to talk about something that is kind of controversial. If you know what we're talking about, and that is live action anime.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So Kelvin, you asked me earlier.
Yeah.
What anime I watched when I was a kid? What's when you think of live action anime? What's the first thing that comes up to mind?
Oh boy. So, I mean, if you want to call that like a live action anime, like a good one, or like you just want to call it trash, because that's what majority of them were. I'm sorry, but just majority of them is just like.
Dude, just.
I'm sorry. Okay, gosh, DBZ Evolution.
First of all, there's no Z in there.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, you're gonna hear us talk about that shit a lot today.
So yeah, man. So Dragon Ball Evolution, for those who don't know, was a movie that came out when
somewhere in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, mid 2000s. Like I think right after this was a little bit after Kai. I was going to say.
Kai wasn't out.
Okay, Kai wasn't out yet. Okay, so before Kai.
Yeah, we're going David time.
Yeah, so. A little bit before Kai, and basically they casted Goku as a white boy.
That's gonna be one of the big things we're gonna talk about in this episode.
That's a major thing, yeah.
So that is the poster child of like what not to do in live action anime, and a lot of times, whether it be Hollywood or Japan itself, they just don't seem to get it. We talk about Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Evolution. What was the most recent one you could think of that was just like bad news for everybody?
I know for sure the live action Ghost in the Shell got a lot of heat.
Ooh, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Scarlett Johansson, beautiful actress, really good, beautiful, and also a really good actress. She's good because she's had those roles of like, her playing a spy and whatnot. But then it boils down to, at the end of the day, to the whole like, she's not Asian or she's not of Asian descent, and then which in the whether in the manga or the anime, she's Japanese. But the only technicality I will give Ghost in the Shell credit for is that technically also she was an android. So she didn't have no gender, no ethnicity. So she was an android. That's the only thing I will give credit to, is that they picked a good actor because for credibility, A, and B, she was able to kind of highlight the main aspects of the main character for GAS. So
I remember hearing that's one of the big reasons people were okay with it. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's like, you've seen the movie, right?
I have not seen the movie, but I've seen enough trailers to know the pretense of it, and also I've seen comparison to the anime, and I will say,
surprisingly enough, it follows visually best. Like there's a scene where I forget the character's name.
I think it was Makoto Kusanagi.
No, was it Makoto?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Well, I know Kusanagi was
I'm talking about the scene in particular.
Which one?
The scene where like the flakes come off of that person. You don't remember that scene?
No, wait, that was in GAC or GIS?
That was in Ghost in the Shell.
What?
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's been a while since I've
So
seen
they didn't adapt it to television show. They did more of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a scene where it's literally ripped off the anime.
Huh.
But,
okay.
Yeah, that wasn't received that well. It didn't do that great box office.
Visually wise.
No, visually wise, it did great.
Yeah. Box office wise,
it was kind of fans did not like the way it ended.
Oh no.
There's a little twist there that we're not going to get into. I recommend you guys watch the movie yourself. If you're a fan, probably don't watch it. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah.
But it just didn't do so well. I think the most recent movie that I can think of that is based off anime that Hollywood has done is probably Alita Battle Angel. That's the only one that...
Little what?
Alita Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's the only one that has been like received well. It hasn't done commercially that well considering the budget that the make back was so high.
And also they had to push back, I think, several times.
Oh yeah. So that's why
production value because their expectations were a little too high to a point to where like, okay, can they release in time? And then came the time when they have to release. They actually oh crap, the producer and director like, oh crap, we're not going to make the deadline, so we're going to have to push back the movie a couple of months. And
considering the technology that they want to reach, they couldn't have done it.
Oh no, yeah, for sure, yeah.
James Cameron has been doing that for years. He's done that with Avatar right now.
Yeah,
it's a movie that's been like more than 4 years in the making. It's like I don't even trust it's gonna be that good. But that's the first track record. That's the ones we have here. What do you think about the ones they made in Japan?
Oh boy, I know. See, Bleach was one, and Full Metal Alchemist was the other. Now it's here's my take, because like with anime guys, like when it comes to anime and like just in general the episodes and whatnot, you have series that are short enough to where you can condense 20, 30 episodes, and then long running series where you have hundreds and hundreds. I'm talking hundreds of episodes stacked on top of each other. So
there's an overarching arc.
There's two arcs overall with Full Metal Alchemist. You have the original and then you have Brotherhood. But
by arcs I mean like this is where the story's taking.
Oh no, yeah.
There's a reason why it's so long, because there's so many arcs for each character.
Yeah. So for those who have seen or heard of Full Metal Alchemist, basically, it's about these two brothers who they perform alchemy and they do it really well at such a young age, and the brother, the older brother, Edward, becomes a state alchemist. But the thing of it is, his main mission is to find his brother, essentially bring back his brother's missing entire body, and then also in the.
I recommend watching the show rather than just explaining it.
No,
it's a crazy thing to watch, so I really recommend it.
So
you know what movie I think of when it comes to Japanese making a live action anime?
Which
Attack
one?
on Titan.
Did it do well?
It was. I don't really.
They have a theme park. Do you know that?
They have a theme park.
Yeah,
but that was back. That was back when like everyone was riding the Attack on Titan hype.
Yeah.
But no, I heard a lot of fans did not like some of the stuff they did. Like, they cut out a character.
Oh, really?
A major character.
Really, like a main character?
Like a major character.
Really?
And replaced him with a totally original character.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what's his name? The badass dude.
Oh, Levi.
Yeah.
They replaced Levi?
They replaced Levi with a different character.
Levi's kind of like, he's one of the, aside from Eren, Mikasa, and, the other blind kid dude, I can never remember his name, but yeah, Levi.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's exactly what they did.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, that goes into our, part of my next topic.
Uh-huh.
And the one we're just going to have, one of the ones we're going to spend our most time with.
Yeah.
And that is, what is the problem with when it comes to making these animes? Like, what are they missing?
Yeah.
And I think, one thing, you said it earlier.
Yeah.
They're adapting, like, most of the time.
Series. Like,
a series.
Series, episodes, and then condensing it into an hour, 30, like, at best, like, under 2 hours.
So, a lengthy film is majority of times a 2 hour to 2 hour, 30 minutes.
Right, yeah.
Rarely nowadays do you see, like, 3 to 4 hour films.
Right.
And they were the standard back in the day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, well, the 3 or 4 hours films is like most of like the hit films.
I wouldn't say hit. It was just like,
well, I mean, I
they
guess
were kind of like every once in a while.
yeah, like
I
a
think
big
the
like
last-
I guess Avengers Endgame that was nearly 3 hours.
That was 3 hours.
Yeah, it was 3 hours. Yeah,
Yeah, but that was like a different reason.
right. Mm-hmm.
And like the last film I could think of off the top of my head was American wise. I don't know about the Japanese how they handle their film industry, but the last one I can think of off the top of my head is the Godfather movies. They were like way over 2 hours.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So you're right on the whole condensing a story,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it just. Well, you got to think of it this way: a film is always going to be around 2 hours max.
Right.
And when it comes to adapting a book or a television series, you have to think about what goes into that adaptation.
Yeah, true.
What do you take in and what do you take out?
Right, agreed.
So let's take probably the best example of this situation, which is Full Metal Alchemist, where they really rushed that story.
Yeah. Oh, they they really just went like the moment they're like stopping the priest, and all of a sudden, whoop, all the way to like Nina. I'm like, I'm sorry, there's like 3 or 4 episodes like already in. I was like,
oh yeah.
I saw it like, huh? And then
dude,
oh
like,
my gosh.
For me,
I was just lost at that point. I'm sorry. I was just lost at that point when it came to that.
Yeah, no, it's just so I'm trying to look some stuff up right now. But for me, it's not even just like skipping. We just like ballparked out of nowhere. It's like I'm watching the first inning of a Astros game, and then all of a sudden I'm on the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So, my mic.
Yeah.
Oh man. So it's that's always become the issue when it comes to adaptation, whether it be books or television. It's like, what do you take in? What do you take out?
Yeah.
So, Full Metal Alchemist, it did the biggest thing where like you just ran through a whole series, like a good chunk of the first third at least,
yeah,
of the series, and try to like pass it off as a film. I'm like, you can't do that.
That's you're gonna get confused. You're gonna get confused. Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm supposed to follow this hot Asian chick.
hey, hold on. Wait, why is it gotta be a hot Asian chick?
Because it's lust.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Her name is Lust.
In this context.
Yeah,
Lust.
her name is actually Lust.
Fine. Okay.
Again, I recommend watching the show.
You'll understand.
Yeah, you'll understand if you haven't. But it's like she was there, and then people. I remember like watching. I was like, yeah, I know her whole story, but you're not going into her whole story. She's just kind of there.
That's it. Yeah.
It's just and it just gets taken out.
A few scenes, and that's it. Like there's like barely any screen time.
I know, man. And we're gonna get into one of the things like that's my big issue is when it comes to adapting, like, you know, when you're taking do you make the right changes?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest offense, and I'm gonna try to calm down Kelvin in this moment, because personally I'm fine with you changing some stuff in the and it comes to adaptation,
right?
But the biggest sin, I think, the most recent years in terms of these live action anime adaptations, aside from Dragon Ball Evolution, was Death Note.
That was just a mistake. Like never to be heard or speak of again. Whenever people bring it up, it's like we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Like we don't talk about
we don't talk about that. Yeah.
It's like we don't talk about the Death Note movie.
Nope. I'm sorry. Like, okay. Also, y'all could do better with Piccolo. I'm sorry, but.
I wasn't talking about Dragon Ball Evolution, dude.
Oh, no.
I was talking about Dragon Ball Death Note.
Okay, I'm sorry. But Light Turner.
That's whoever named it.
You can't get more, like, whitewashed than that. And especially...
Dude, it's not even a whitewash. That's like a name that
Light Turner. Yeah.
Like, no, that's not even... I'm not even going into whitewash yet. For me, if I heard a name like Light Turner, I'm like, oh, man, that kid's going to get bullied.
Yeah.
That kid's gonna get, that is the worst name you can give a kid.
And also I think like remember seeing like the first like scenes of Death Note because the live action because I know one of my friends like, oh, Kelvin, you gotta check this out. I'm like, oh boy, I like literally okay, Light Yunagami, in the anime series, Death Note, he's actually like he's actually a quiet person, and then but his character develops over time where once he achieves with the Death Note, once he is talking with the Death God. slowly
Which I think we
becomes
should
the
give
whole
out,
God
like,
complex.
I think we should give him like a quick definition of Death Note. But basically,
Yeah.
Death Note is centered around a character by the name of Light Yagami,
Yeah.
who is
it's Yagami. Okay.
yeah.
Whoops. Sorry.
Yeah. So in the story, there's this whole idea of a Death Note, which is basically a book that you would find that would often randomly appear to someone.
Yeah.
And in that Death Note, you would write down this person's name. So in this situation, I got the Death Note, and I'm writing down Kelvin Dangtran.
Wow, way to one off me, dude.
First
episode, you're trying to one off me already. Jesus.
I'm already looking for it. Just in case you guys didn't know, I'm looking for a third.
You suck.
So, and I'd write, he dies of a heart attack, and he would die of a heart attack. That's kind of the rules that are set for within the Death Note universe. And like you said, he kind of gets a God complex because once you kill someone, you just start going crazy.
He thinks he's God.
Yeah.
So, Light Turner, on the other hand, is a wuss. Like, just halfway through the movie, he's just like very cowardly and like not even.
Well, see,
like, he freaked out whenever like the.
So this is what I'm saying. Where like, I'm fine with changes. You're not doing an exact copy of the show. That was the whole point. But my problem is that you don't utilize it so well. I'm okay if this version of Light is like a cowardly kind of dude.
Yeah.
Because in reality, if a dude were to saw like a creature that essentially calls himself the Death God that controls over the whole book, bitch, I'm be screaming like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That is the most realistic thing I can see that happening.
Yeah.
And but that was a change I'm okay with. But as the movie went along, it just stopped making sense.
Yeah.
It started being more of a spectacle. And that's always been my big issue with these films. Is like, you can change it. But how much can you actually change?
Before it just gets really confusing and like the plot just goes.
Yeah, you start like losing point of like what's the whole point of the series.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that's the most important thing you got to keep with is that
keep the storyline, man.
Keep the storyline. You can change the stuff, but don't deviate to what the whole point of the story is. The whole point of the story of Death Note is like, what happens when you give some kid the power of God. Yeah. And that's basically it. I don't even like the show, to be honest.
Oh, really? You don't like the show?
No, I don't like Death Note that much. Yeah. It was like for me, Death Note was always more of that teenage angst that you eventually grew out of. Like,
is that middle school, like, emo teenage phase?
Dude, you have no idea.
I didn't have that personally.
You didn't have that personally?
Yeah. Did you have it?
I grew out of it like after a year.
After a year, yeah.
Yeah, like, but it was like the most common thing you would find in every like middle school like emo kid.
Yeah.
Not to differentiate on the emo kids or anything like that, but it's always been like that kind of funny thing about it. So, me seeing the Death Note movie, seeing it in a new light, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll give this a try. Yeah. But you kind of missed the whole point of the story. Like, I know a bunch of people are upset about it for different reasons, and that goes into like something I want to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Fans' perspective.
Of what they think about the live action.
Yeah, a lot of them don't even want it because there's
so many, especially at first, like the way I see it, Hollywood's been like testing the waters of this, like now diving into the whole like the popular anime series that we've seen, and then the whole like adapting, giving that Hollywood phase adaptation to see if it's a hit or miss. They've literally been doing that first, and now at this point, it's just like it's been nothing but miss. Or to me, this is personally for me, it's been nothing but misses so far. The majority of it wise, and then the very few that actually do well, it's like it's not enough to kind of like give the live action I would say praise that they so desperately need.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they think that you should let the Japanese handle it, but I don't think I've ever. There's only been a couple I can think of off the top of my head that are really good.
I know for sure, and that that kind of dives into the next topic is the representation at the end of the day. Right? Yeah, it's like, yes, I know it's like majority of the characters that we see in anime now these days is like there are of Asian descent, but there are actually some characters that are like they're not they're not Japanese.
They're not
actually,
Asian.
Yeah, they're not Asian. They're either Caucasian, they're Black, they're Latino. And you see that. You do see that. Like I know one notable character that I noticed, Chad from Bleach. He's Latino.
Yeah, and they cast him as Japanese in the movie, right?
Yeah, and that
was so weird for me.
Yeah, it's like unless the Japanese guy can like really speak Spanish or like just has that Spanish accent, even though he's Japanese, then okay, that could work. But like he's pure Japanese, and like although his character in the series he's Hispanic. I mean, there's a backstory where he was talking about his grandfather, and then I remember like at the end of that little backflash, I just hear abuelo, and it's just like wait. Like that was it. Yeah, that's what I remember from that scene.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing about representation is like the biggest issue when it comes to these films.
Yeah, not just
especially from the West. Here in the States.
Right.
When Scarlett Johansson was announced to be Mikoto, there's a huge outpour about her
not being it. Yeah.
But when I first heard it, I was like, okay, she's basically playing a badass spy.
Mm-hmm.
Can do a lot of kicks and flips. He knows how to use a gun.
Yep.
And I'm like, she's basically playing Black Widow.
Have you seen the Avengers? Have you seen Salt? Have you seen oh no, that's Angelina Jolie. But like, have you seen what's that one movie where like she unlocks like the
man? We don't talk about that movie.
Oh yeah,
we don't talk about that movie.
But anyway, okay. But overall,
that premise is so stupid.
Yeah. Overall, though, like Scarlett Johansson as an actress, like she has played those roles as a spy, as a secret agent, kind of thing. So she fits that role.
It's not that different from. I mean, there's the huge differences, yes, but it's like at baseline, you're basically playing Black Widow.
Yeah.
So it's like I can totally see her
in a futuristic universe.
Yeah, and I can totally see as to why they chose her. And there's people were like, "Why didn't you choose this person?"
Why did you choose an Asian person? I'm like, okay, well,
here's the thing:
does that Asian person have the skills? Do they have the training?
Yeah, they probably do. But the thing is, you need for movies.
Yeah.
You kind of need a bankable name.
That is like you need to be like have a track record essentially.
Yeah, and it made sense for Scarlett to be it.
But
the way they played it out towards the end, that's where I have a big issue.
Right.
Because it's one of those things where don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is like reacting in the worst way possible to the negative fan reaction.
Right.
And I think aside from that, one of the other big offenders that we talked about, and we mentioned this earlier, and I think this is going to take most of our podcast right now, is Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, boy.
Wow. That was like, I would say Dragon Ball Evolution is probably the most interesting take on the whole Dragon Ball mythos.
It was an hour and 30-ish minutes of my life that I will never get back again. After watching it, like I actually sat through and watched it because one of my friends was like, "Oh, hey, they did live action." I'm like, "Oh, cool!" And like this was like whenever it just first came out, I saw it. I'm like, "Dude, why the hell did you take me to see this? This is a waste of my time." I'm sorry, but like this was like bad and just bad is just an understatement of like how it was.
Yeah. Dude, no, just so like Dragon Ball Evolution, as I said earlier, is the poster child of what not to do with these films. Because it did everything wrong, and it's going to connect to everything we just said right now.
Right.
As we go along through this podcast. Dragon Ball is essentially a show that's centered around a little kid going around. It's basically Journey of the West. If you guys know what Journey of the West is, it's this old Chinese tale of like this...
A Westerner like exploring...
it's a monk going through.
Oh yeah, monk going through
the West.
Yeah,
And as he goes along, he meets these weird characters.
Yeah,
and one of them is like basically Goku. He's like this kid with a monkey tail.
Son Goku, that's the official name. Yeah.
Yeah, Son Goku is the Japanese name for Sun Wukong, and Sun Wukong is a Chinese name.
Yep.
So it has this sort of drench of culture to it, and when I first saw the film, I didn't really see that. I really just saw like I don't want to even use this because I feel like this is wrong. I just saw like a white kid trying to be like Goku, and I'm like, I don't think this is right? Something about the way they played off just seemed like they weren't even trying. They don't know what they were doing.
Nah.
And like it's so weird, and it's just it felt like a poor man's imitation.
Don't even get me started on the acting. Oh gosh, whenever
Dude.
he was doing like he was charging up. Oh my. I thought he was going to take a dump.
Chunk. That's almost every Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but like the little representation of like when he was charging up in that scene, I'm like, oh my god.
That's
every white kid who ever want to be a Super Saiyan. That's that. It's like
every kid,
like that, yeah.
Dude, every kid
I know. Who ever want to be a Super Saiyan.
I remember in elementary, there's at least 5 of us that would gather around in a circle going,
and then like you just be like, what are you damn kids doing? Like,
yeah, no, they just let us be.
Yeah.
No, it's just that's what the comes with these that people talk about with these Western adaptations is that it's not it doesn't resonate with the culture, and it's culture that's very hard to do. So, and that's why I feel like Dragon Ball Evolution was just like that poor missed opportunity.
It didn't set a good pretense.
It didn't, and it just
rest of the live actions to follow.
And they did a lot of changes that made no sense, which ironically. The creator of Dragon Ball Z was like, he wasn't even against it originally.
Really?
He wasn't. He was like, guys, just take it as a interesting spin of the Dragon Ball universe, as he said. Until it came out, and then he realized it was a piece of shit.
More like, bleh! Like that more like that kind of spin. Like the spin you go on the roller coaster and you throw up after. That's basically Dragon Ball Evolution, guys.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's so sad. Because when you're a kid, you hear, man, they're gonna put a Dragon Ball Z up in live action. You're gonna see some cool Kamehamehas.
Yeah.
And when you see it, it's just so. That moment where the actor playing Goku, I don't even blame him. Yeah, he looked like he didn't want to be there.
No, he didn't. Like it was just like, and a lot of the acting, like the lines he had too. It sounded really like. Not genuine, because there's actors that were like, they like in order to make the role like great, make it genuine. That's my take. Like if you're really invest in this character, make it genuine. And it wasn't really that.
You can really tell like no one was genuine because like it wasn't even everything about it felt wrong.
Yeah.
And like the best part of the thing that sums it up is where he does this the most well known move in the whole series is like. You're supposed to. It's like this energy beam. You shoot up. It's basically a Hadouken.
Yeah.
Kamehamehas are basically Hadouken. And he uses it and it flies forward. That hurt me. That hurt me as a kid. I was like, what? Kamehamehas don't work like that. No. They don't know.
It was basically like you put a Street Fighter reference in there. Kamehameha. Hadouken. Like put it forward.
It's not even a forward. Like when you do a Kamehameha in the show,
back and then.
Well, no, not even that.
Okay.
When he shoots it, they push back because it's a ball of energy, past like shooting.
But it just goes forward. That's it.
Yeah, he just leaps forward, a puff of air, hits him, and it's over. And I'm like, that is the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and there's no way you could have made that work.
All right. Well, enough on the trash talking of Dragon Ball. Before I think if we keep going, we might go a little like just we'll turn into another couple of angry rage nerd boys.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
So
I mean, like,
so in the future, what do you think will Japan specifically do to make it better? What do you think?
It doesn't matter which one it is to me.
Yeah, I guess the future of like live adaptation animes. What can they do? What do you think Hollywood will need to do to make it better?
What do they need to do?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a question.
Yeah.
Because in my personal opinion, what you need to do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you for me, it doesn't matter if you cast Asian or whites, depending on the story.
Yeah.
It all depends on the story, really, because you could take this sort of story that is set in like this Japanese culture, and still able to do something that can be like understandable to us Westerners,
right?
To us guys on the West, the United States and all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a whole talk about representation, whitewashing. If the character that you're adapting is like set in Japan, has to be Japanese. I didn't let them be Japanese.
Yeah.
We can make a movie with an Asian cast. We saw that with Crazy Rich Asians,
Mm-hmm.
which is like one of the biggest movies that came out
Yeah,
last
for
year.
sure. Yeah.
Good story and all that stuff. You proved that you could do
Good
it.
characters. Yeah, it's doable. It's just we're taking that just success and repeating it now.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, don't repeat it. Dude.
Oh,
we don't want exact copy.
Not exact copy, but just like take that same success you took with one, and then like do a similar take and like the same recipe, but like your own twist, but still keep that same pretense of like, oh, make this good. You know?
Yeah. No. It's like, so you can do like this story set in Asian culture.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta do it right. But if you want to do your own take, go for it. You know, no one's gonna blame you. You just gotta make sure you keep the whole point of the story in there. Like I was saying earlier about Death Note. And honestly, if it kept with the story of like this kid who eventually gets a god complex, then it would make sense that he was like a Fred Little punk ass. Yeah, because like every kid gets bullied like that. You know, you want the power.
Yeah. You
want to have that kind of power. There's a reason why I say like Death Note was a book for like middle schoolers. That's a trash hit, but like like that was like the middle school emo thing to do.
Right.
So that made sense to me for them to latch onto that.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I would like to see what Hollywood does, especially with live takes, you know, similar pretense to what you say. Just I don't know, just keep the storyline, keep the like. And the characters should be developing over time. That's my take. And like, if you want, especially if like the character like in the series is your favorite, just let that character grow. Like, don't just like keep them at the same way, and then all of a sudden the ending scene, oh, now he's like boom, the top of this game. You know, like don't just like skip an entire phase or the entire like, you know,
like keep them consistent. Like like honestly, it's one of those things where you got to make the character grow and sort of, you know who. You know, we talk about, you know, you said like Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah.
They jump too much of the story. You don't have to adapt this whole long running series. You can just make your story out of it. Mm-hmm. Like that's like that's like always been like the thing. You know, when you're adapting a story, do it your own way. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, treat it like you would like if you were adapting, say, like the Harry Potter books. A lot of the Harry Potter books, you know, they tend to follow the story, but you know they change.
It's not exactly like the book. Yeah.
Yeah, but they changed some stuff.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I remember I have a friend. She was telling me like the way that this one character in the Harry Potter movies, Neville Longbottom, was not the way they represented it in the book.
In the book, yeah, it was a completely different character altogether.
Dude, like you understood like why he was like always
getting picked on. He was the dweeby.
Dude, like they don't say it. I mean, they don't show it. But there's a scene where like he visits his family and stuff, and it's very tragic because like his family got.
I mean, well, same with Harry's parents.
Oh yeah,
in a sense, but
it's in a sense like you know, but you can see like this camaraderie. And it makes much more sense as to why they did his whole character build-up makes sense, which is more in the books than you see in the movie. So you can do a movie based on these shows. You just got to know how to write with it. Yeah. And I think that's, you need to center it. You know, if it's a center in Asian culture, go for it, dude. Go make that Asian culture film. You know, centering around with Asians. And if it's a series that's pure fantasy like Dragon Ball, you know, make it fantasy. Don't try, but you know, keep the whole cool thing. You know, don't make it too weird and follow to what you have to say. Right. Because like at the end of the day, the whole point of Dragon Ball is literally just looking for the Dragon Balls with cool stuff. Yeah. And then make their wishes. Yeah. So before we wrap up here, guys, now live action animes. What do you want to see? Like in the future, like what adaptation would you like to see? Of an anime that's like it's out right now, but like what live action adaptation would you like to see? What I like to see?
Yeah, what would like to see?
Well, first I think we should talk about ones that have been announced.
Okay, for sure.
So like, we're looking at a list from comicbookreader.com. Where it talks about the